Hello everyone, welcome to another lecture of the special series, Turbo series, directed towards the preparation of the upcoming SEBI Grade A exams and the RBI Grade B exams. As you already know from the intro session that Samir sir had taken for this particular series, that in this series we will target to do a quick revision of the important concepts that is there in the syllabus of SEBI Grade A and RBI Grade B. And you must also have gone through the lectures that Samir sir and Ravi sir had taken on economic and finance. If you have not, please go through them. In there, they had taken some important concepts on each one of these areas and revised them in the class. Now, as the economics and the finance part of the syllabus have already started, I thought that why not to start off with another interesting and a very important part of the syllabus, and that is, yes, management. Now, management is something that comes in both of these exams, is a common point in both of these exams, and and it's a very interesting topic in terms of the concepts that are there, the way the questions can be thrown, or the way your concepts would be checked, your basics would be checked on this particular subject, right? So today we will have management in our menu for revision. Okay, and what we'll do is I'll be dividing the revision of management into submodules. You must have seen in the syllabus of both SEBI and RBI, there are submodules of management. So one is fundamentals of management, then there is leadership, right, communication. So these are the basic areas or basic submodules in which the whole course has been divided. So we'll take one submodule in each class, and then we will discuss the theories, the concepts in them. And how do we discuss it? We'll be discussing them through the questions. We'll be taking questions, some important questions, and based on those questions we will be discussing the theories too of or the relevant theories, important theories of that particular submodule. Okay, so that will be the overall way we will be approaching this management module. Okay, now let's see what would come in the fundamentals of management. Today, the first module that we will take, or the first submodule that we will take, is the fundamentals of management. So what will we cover in fundamentals of management? We'll cover nature and scope of management. We'll cover questions based on history of management. We'll cover questions based on the management process, that is planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling. Then we will talk about roles that managers play in different forms, in what kinds of roles they play, in what kinds of situation. So these four major subtopics are the basis of fundamentals of management, the first submodule of management. Okay, right. So that is what we will be doing today through questions. And how many questions would we do? We will take 15 questions. We'll take 15 questions, and they would be of all same marks, 1 marks for each question. Obviously the marks are for your reference, so that you understand that how much you could score in a collection of questions which is a representative of what is going to come in your exams too, right? And for every question you should give 30 seconds. So how would it be like? I'll give you the question, I'll give you the slide where the question would be there. Then you pause the lecture for 30 seconds and then go through the question and try to answer the question. And then after 30 seconds, or once you have done with the question, resume the lecture. Once you resume the lecture, I'll be explaining the concepts behind it and the answer to the question, right? Okay, and so you will have an understanding that this is what the reason of the answer of this question is, right? Okay, so that's how your revision would also happen. A short revision would happen on this particular submodule, that fundamentals of management is being revised. The important concepts of some fundamentals of management is being revised through these questions. Okay, right? So let's start with the first question. We'll be going in line all the 15 questions, and then we'll see how much we are able to score. So once you have marked the answer, resume the video and look at the solution of that particular question, and then at the end tally your scores. How many were correct, how many were wrong. Okay, right, and then see that whether you performed well or whether you performed average. Okay, chalo, let's start with the first question. Let's learn some interesting concepts of management. Okay, so the first question is on your screen now. Take 30 seconds and do this question. Done? Okay, so what is the question? Let's see. Fayol gave 14 principles of management, right? All of the given options are among the list of 14 except. So what is not there? So there are 4 options out here, right? So we'll have to find out that out of those 14 principles, 3 are there, 3 are one of those 14 principles, but 1 is not. Okay. So let's look at the 14 principles first and learn a little bit about them. So Henry Fayol had been one of the earliest proponents of theory of management. You would remember that. And he gave 14 principles of management, which were namely division of work, authority, discipline. Let me explain a little about each one of these principles. Division of work. Henry Fayol believed that specialization increases the output and thereby makes employees more efficient. Okay, and therefore he suggested that there should be division of work. Second, authority. Now authority is something that he was very particular about. He said that if you are a supervisor and then above you there are managers, they must be able to give orders to you, and you in turn must be able to give orders to people who are working under you. And therefore that authority is the concept that gives you right to give orders. Okay, so that was authority. Then discipline, as you can understand, that it makes the requirement of principles of management is to have a smooth running organization. Employees must obey and respect the rules that govern the organization, right? Then there is unity of command. So what is unity of command? Now this is very important concept. It says that, see, there are many employees and there are many supervisors. Then supervisors would have their managers over them. So every employee should be receiving orders from only one supervisor. So that's unity of command. If there are 2 to 3 bosses giving orders to one person, then there will be no efficiency in the organization, is what Henry Fayol believed, right? We will see later on, as the management theories across the world were shaped up in the 50s and 60s, this unity of command was challenged many times, and different alternative methods from unity of command were built. Okay, but then according to Henry Fayol's 14 principles of management, unity of command is this: one boss should be giving the direction to one person, right? So there should not be multiple bosses for one person. Unity of direction. Now this is also important, which is say that this is from the organization's perspective. If unity of command is from the employee's perspective, unity of direction is from the organization's perspective. What it says is that everyone in the organization should be moving in one direction. It should not be that the goal of one department is contrary to the goal of the other department, essentially creating a rift between department and thereby ensuring that the efficiency is not built into the system of the organization. Okay, right. Then subordination of individual interest to the general interest. General interest here obviously means organizational interest or interest of the team, interest of the group, right? Anything. I mean, all of them together makes general interest, and obviously individual interest is my interest, your interest as an employee, as a single employee, right? That does not mean that individual interests need not be taken care of, but when there is a choice between individual and general interest, the organization for its benefit should be choosing general interest over individual interest. So it's as simple as that. I mean, all of you understand also that interest of any one employee or group of employees should not take precedence over the interests of the organization as a whole. No? Next, remuneration. Now this is very important. See, according to Henry Fayol, the remuneration should be always fair. The wages that should be given to the workers or the employees should be fair. Okay, so in lieu of their services. Then centralization. Next one is centralization. What is centralization means? This term refers to the degree to which subordinates are involved in the decision making. Basically, this point is centralization and decentralization. So if I go back to Fayol's time, you see every one of those organizations were owned by whom? They were owned by the capitalists. Now these capitalists, mostly people who had capital in their hands. So they had a centralized command, and that went on fine with that time. Okay, and Henry Fayol also believed that there should be an amount of centralization, but that does not mean that the workers or the employees would not be asked for opinion in their own areas at all. No, that did not mean that. Then scalar chain. Scalar chain means the line of authority from top management to the lowest rank is called scalar chain. So there should be a clear scalar chain. Then order. Order means people and materials should be in the right place at the right time. Right. So they should be in an order. Then equity. Equity means that you should have an equitable way of dealing with your subordinates. Please understand, what does it mean? It means that managers should be fair to their subordinates. Okay. Next, stability of tenure of personnel. Now this is like if I do not give stability to my workers or employees, they would not be motivated enough to work. Right. So if management should provide orderly personnel planning and ensure that replacements are available to fill vacancies, and also there is a tenure stability for the people who are working. Then initiative. Employees, who are allowed to originate and carry out plans will exert high levels of effort because they have that belief in the organization that they would reward their initiative. And the last is esprit de corps. What does esprit de corps mean? Now, esprit de corps means, it's basically promoting team spirit. It believes that if you have a good team working in an organization, that will build harmony, that will build unity within the organization. Okay, right. So these were the basic 14 principles of Henry Fayol. I had gone to a little detail to make you understand what it is. Right. There will be 2-3 questions based on this. If there is, you will be able to answer them on the basis of what we have discussed just now. Right. Now, let's look at the question now. All of the given options are among the list. Authority and responsibility, yes. Line of authority, yes. When we say scalar chain, what does it mean? Line of authority. Unity of command, yes. Okay. And globalization, no. Globalization was not a part of any discussion which can be attributed to Henry Fayol's 14 principles of management. So our answer here should be C, globalization. Clear? Got it correct? Very good. Let's move on to the second one. Let's see. Done? Okay, good. Let's see. First level managers must possess what kind of skills, which include knowledge of and proficiency in the methods, processes and procedures for carrying out activities. Okay. Again, here also I'll explain you the concept first, and then you will see how easy it becomes to answer this question. So this is how I relate levels and skills of management. So these are the levels of management. First level, second level, the first level, the lowest level, operational level, second level, middle level, and the third level, the topmost level, right? So the strategic level or the level of the top management. Now, what are the skills of management that is required according to the level? I'll come to how it would be related to according to the level, but the three main skills: technical skills, human skills, and conceptual and design skills. Right. So these are the three main skills that are required for a managerial professional. Now, which kind of skill corresponds to which position in the hierarchy? Let me show that to you. So if you see, if these two lines basically show you what kind of skill is needed at what place. For example, top, the line demarcates very clearly that the topmost person requires human skills and conceptual and design skills. The technical skills very less, almost zero, negligible technical skills is required by the topmost management. The middle management guy requires technical skills, requires human skills and also requires concepts and design skills. Therefore middle management guys are the most overworked ones, right? So because they need all the skills and they have to do all the kind of jobs. Then the operational level management. Now operational level management guys needs technical skills most, and obviously human skills. Very negligible amount of conceptual and design skills, almost nothing they need, right? Okay. As you can see, human skill is common to all of them. Human skill is required because wherever you are, whatever you are, you'll have to work in a team, you'll have to work with people, and therefore you'll have to have the human skills to get along with people so that you can work and get the work done. Right? Okay. But technical skills and conceptual skills, they are primarily vested with the top and the operational level respectively. Right? It's a different issue that middle level management requires both of them, right? But if we see what is unique to top, between top and operational, or the third and the first level, what is unique to top? Unique to top is conceptual and design skills, right? And unique to operational, technical skills, right? For a moment we will forget about middle. We know that middle needs everything, right? Between top and operational, unique is technical skills for operational and conceptual skills for the top, right? Okay. So that was the basic concept between the levels and the skills of management. Now let's look at the question here. First level of managers must possess what kind of skills? What kinds of skills? Which include knowledge of, now they require both skills, technical as well as human skills. But then the question goes further and explains between them which one has to be chosen for the blank. For example, which include knowledge and proficiency in the method. Now, knowledge and proficiency in the method, process, procedure, that ought to be technical skill. That cannot be human skill, right? Okay. So, therefore, this should be technical skills. So, your answer should be D, option number D. Clear? Clear, my friends? I hope that from now onwards, you will not have doubt in levels and skills of management. Now, let's move on to the next question. A reporting relationship in which an employee receives order from, okay, give your time and then resume the lecture. Done? A reporting relationship in which an employee receives order from and reports to only one supervisor is known as what? That's known as unity of command. I mean, we don't need to even go back to the concept. We have already done for question number 1 the concept of Henry Fay's 14 principle, and there I explained to you what unity of command is. As a matter of fact, this is, in other words, definition of unity of command that has been given to you, isn't it? Huh? Right. So, see, once you have done the concepts, now it would become very easy for you to do questions. Now, because what will happen, see, when you go to the question number 3 and read the question number 3, you immediately remember, okay, those were the 14 principles. Now, if they were the 14 principles, I know what will need to be done. We need to answer unity of command, because that's what it refers to, unity of command, where employee receives order from and reports to only one supervisor, right? Next. Which of the following skills is important at all levels of organization? Again, this question is based on the concepts that we did in which question? Question number 2. Yes, levels and skills of management. Now, I'll not go back to that. Just do this question by yourself, by trying to recollect what we discussed in question number 2 concepts. Done? Which of the following skills is important at all levels of an organization? Human. Human was common to all 3. It was common to operational, it was common to middle, and it was common to top, isn't it? Right? So, human was common to all of them, therefore the answer should be human. So easy, na? Once you know the concepts, it becomes a cakewalk for you. 10 seconds and you can do it. And that's why I repeated one question from those concepts, so that you understand that, okay, this is the way how you should be approaching. First do the concept and understand it in your own way, in a summarized form, and then when you approach the questions, it becomes very easy for you. Okay, question number 5 now, my friends. Do it. Done? Okay, let's see. Great. Specialization of labor, well-defined hierarchy, formal rules and procedures, and merit-based career advancements are the characteristics of which kind of management? I mean, if you have studied, you would know just by looking at the sentence that it's bureaucratic. Yes, Max Weber's bureaucratic principles. And from the bureaucratic concept or bureaucratic theory, Max Weber's, where he talked about how the organization should be shaped for maximum efficiency. Let me show you some of the points in Weber's bureaucratic theory. First of all, it emphasizes that the need for organization to function on a rational basis. So bureaucracy, the assumption of bureaucracy is that the organization should have a rational basis. Second, a bureaucracy, according to Weber, Max Weber, it's a highly structured, formalized and impersonal organization. Now you see, highly structured, formal rules and procedures. So this is from that only. Next, the major characteristics of Weber's ideal bureaucracy. Weber had defined an ideal bureaucracy. What it was? Let's see. Specialization of labor, formal rules and regulations, impersonality in application of rules, well-defined hierarchy, career based on merit. See, all these four are there: well-defined hierarchy, specialization of labor, formal rules and procedures, and merit-based career advancement. See, if I know this much only about this much of Max Weber's bureaucratic theory, you would be surprised to know all questions that have come in previous year in RBI Grade B, from this area had been doable from only this much of the knowledge of Max Weber's bureaucratic theory. Okay, right. Now, so the answer is bureaucratic theory. Clear? Chalo. Let's move on to question number 6 now. Which of the following is not valid with respect to scientific management theories? Okay, do this question. Done? Okay, so you see, you know what scientific management theories is, right? Now, scientific management theories, when we talk about scientific management theories, there are a lot of theories that comes to our mind. So, what are the important things in scientific management theories? Whether it was Taylor, whether it was Gant, or whether it was Gilbreth couple, remember? They created that time and motion study. Now, so if the important concepts there are functional foremanship, standardization and simplification of work, method study, differential piece rate system, fatigue study, time study, motion study, right? Though we credit the Gilberts with the time and motion formal studies, but then time and motion were always a part of the scientific management principles right from the time of Taylor. So therefore, if you look at the techniques of scientific management, these would be the techniques of scientific management, right? Now, when we look at the reasons why it is still today used, would be the advantages or the benefits that we accrue from that. So let's look at the benefits that we accrue from that. We don't need so much data for answering this question. I am just giving you a summary of the concepts related to the scientific management theory, so that if there are questions which are beyond this, then also you can answer. Analyze and simplify the basic work task that must be performed, because scientific management principles analyze and simplify the basic work task. Use time and motion study to eliminate wasted motion, right? Hire the best qualified workers for a job, or design incentive system based on output. So these are the reasons why they are still used. These are the benefits that is accrued still today. Now, if we look at limitations, revolving around problems at operational level, we are too much focused in scientific management. We are too much focused on the problems of the operational level, the first level. We don't talk about the middle level or the top level, the strategic level. We rarely talk about it, right? Okay. Only on the tactical level we talk about everything. Then do not focus on manager's point of view. And there is another assumption that people were rational and were motivated primarily by the desire of material gain. So this is one big assumption, that if you have material gain, then you are satisfied, which was challenged by Maslow's later. Remember Abraham Maslow's need hierarchy? In need hierarchy, the first two need only corresponds to the material gain wala part. The rest needs do not correspond to the material gain wala part. So if you look at the way the structuring of the scientific management principles had been very clearly towards the monetary angle of the capitalist as well as the worker, right? Okay, so let's look at the question now. This is the summary of what scientific management theory, its uses till today, its limitation, and what it entails, the basics. Wasted motions. Achha, what is the question? Which of the following is not valid with respect to the scientific management theory? This is not valid. Wasted motions were eliminated. Yes, it is valid. They were eliminated. Worker discretion over the execution of the task was reduced. Yeah, that was reduced because you see, this is, you will have to understand or you will have to infer from the kind of theory the scientific management theory is. Scientific management theory is about the way we approach the organization's tasks from a top-down angle. So workers do not have any say in that. Okay, so their say is reduced. So that is also valid. Job became too complex for workers. No. Job became simple for them. As a matter of fact, the heart of it. If you say, at the heart of your scientific management theory was to simplify it, and job satisfaction of workers was not a parameter. No, job satisfaction of the workers were not a parameter. No, it was not a parameter because they were primarily motivated by material gain is what they assumed. Okay. Oh, I have also written that also. Ignored the human desires of job satisfaction. See, this is also there. Okay, so these were the 4 limitations. So if you look at the 4 limitations and the usages, you would see that A, B, D are there. So you know that only C is something that cannot be there, right? So hence C is the answer. Clear? Huh? Chalo. Next, another interesting question, a very important question. If I remember last time from this concept, in RBI Grade B, there had been around 3 questions. Okay, so do this question. Done? Chalo, let's look at it. Henry Mintzberg classified the managerial role. Before we move on to do this question, let me show you Henry Mintzberg's role theory. So this is role managers play by Henry Mintzberg. There are 3 roles: 1 interpersonal, 2 informational, and 3 decisional. So you can understand it in this way, right? So this is interpersonal, this is informational, and this is decisional. And in each one of these roles, there are further sub roles that managers play. For example, in interpersonal, he can be a figurehead or a leader or a liaison. Okay. Then in informational, or he can be more than one also. In informational, he can be recipient, disseminator, spokesperson. Then in decisional, he can be entrepreneur, disturbance handler, resource allocator, or negotiator. Right? As you can understand, in an organization, really the roles are so clearly demarcated. Right? So therefore, one person can have multiple roles. But the idea is to understand from the perspective of the conceptual background. And for that, we will have to divide it into compartments, and the compartments are interpersonal, informational, decisional, and in that these are the compartments. So 10 sub roles in 3 broad roles. That is what management's every role can be summarized according to Henry Mintzberg. So when he classified the managerial roles of recipient, disseminator, and spokesperson, what it is? Obviously informational roles. Right. So now you can answer it. If you know this, you can answer it in 10 seconds. Yes or no? You don't even need a 30 seconds to do this question. Okay. But you'll have to know this for that. So let's answer this. This is informational role. Next. Question number 8. Do this. Done? Okay. Now understand one thing, that if we talk about the different concepts in management, obviously there would be concepts that would be contradicting each other. There would be concepts that would be given by different kinds of people, which would have some things in common, some things not so in common. So yes, I understand that the things are so vast that you might get confused, and that is where making notes and revising makes much sense, right? So from wherever you have studied, if you have made notes, they would be very much helpful to you at this point, because you can go back to your notes, and when you go back to your notes and you understand, that would give you a lot more understanding, and also and lot more clarity too. And also these lectures that we would do would also serve that purpose, because here we would take the important concepts, and for some of them we will launch into detailed explanation, so that that particular revision is done for you now, and for the remaining you can do it by yourself by the same method. Okay, chalo, let's do the question number 8. Done. According to L.A. Allen, now L.A. Allen, those who have studied would know, had defined something. And what did he define? He defined, if you go through it, even if you don't know what the question is about, what L.A. Allen defined, you can go through what has been written. The process of identifying, grouping the work, defining and delegating responsibility, authority, establishing relationship for the purpose of enabling people to work most effectively together in accomplishing objective. What it can be, you know this much English to guess that this cannot be planning, this cannot be controlling too, this has to be organizing. This has to be organizing, right? Okay, so remember this, so that whenever you are given a question, don't at the outset assume that you have not heard about it and therefore you cannot answer this question. Go through the question, go through the option. I'll come at this point on the screen. See, whenever there had been a question given and prima facie when you look at it, you feel that this is not something that I have studied. So can I do this question? Rather than getting into that self-doubt stage, what do is go through the question, go through the options, and then decide by yourself, after you have applied your common sense to it also, that whether you should leave that question or do that question. Okay? But don't leave just by looking and seeing that this is a question which is something which you don't remember clearly, because a lot of times your common sense would come to your rescue. For the example, in this question, couldn't you have answered this question even if you had not known anything about what the definition of organizing is? Because what has been written there in English is so clearly shouting again and again and saying that I am organizing, that it's very hard to miss it, right? So I'm sure that you will not miss it. But yes, you'll have to keep your mind open. You'll have to focus on doing the questions while you are doing it, and read it carefully, and then go through the options and eliminate the option and come out with the answer. And I'm sure that 100% of the time in questions such as this, you will be correct. Yes, there will be questions where your knowledge will be definitely required, right? But not all of them it is required. So whatever you get is what is bonus, right? Let's move on to the explanation of benefits of organizing. Okay, because this particular question is about organizing. You see, whenever I am taking a new topic in a question, I am launching into an explanation for that. So I will give you the benefits of organizing here. See, what does organizing do? Clear pictures of tasks, what you need to do is clarified. Then it supports planning and control. Now, from planning you come to organizing, and from organizing you go to control, right? So it's an intermediate step. Now, creates a communication channel, then that's one of the main tasks that the organizing guy does. Maintains the logical flow of activities, because one activity cannot be preceded before the other. So those things needs to be taken care of by the person who is organizing. Help in using resource efficiently and coordinates diverse activities. So and finally helps manager to focus task efforts. So these are the benefits of organizing. So remember them. Mostly they would only give you question on the definition or the benefits of organizing. So if you know about these benefits, you would be able to answer questions based on them, right? Okay, chalo. Let's move on to the question number 9. Very oftenly repeated question this is, right? I know that you have gone through Henry Fayol's 14 principles, and there I have already explained it. So based on that, answer it. Done? Yes. So what can be the answer? I don't need to go back to that. You know what can be the answer. Unity is discordant, eliminated. Individuals can produce more, Well, this is irrelevant to spirit de corps. Supervision yields more? No. Union builds harmony. Teamwork builds harmony. That's what it is, right? That's what we did. Remember I said promoting team spirit will build harmony and unity within the organization. So that was the spirit de corps that I had explained to you in the first question. Next, question number 10. Again, a question that can be answered on the basis of the concept that we have learned. I told you, this is a very, very popular concept on which questions come again and again. And that is the Henry Mintzberg's roles manager play. Okay, so let's look at it. Interpersonal role. You remember, what did I tell you? That interpersonal role is where the person acts as a figurehead or a leader and a liaison, right? So figurehead, leader, liaison, this is what the interpersonal skill is, right? So that would be the first one. Okay, so first one would be the answer. Simple. Next, question number 11. Yeah, done. Plants are classified in 3 different broad types. Out of them, one is classification based on organization level. Which one of this does not come under organization level plan? So let me show you the basics of plan first. These are the types of plan: organizational level, frequency of use, and time frame, right? So these are the 3 broad categories in which plans can be categorized. In organization level, you have strategic plan, tactical plan, and operational plan. Okay, so think it like this: strategic is the top level plan, tactical is the middle level plan, and operational is the lowest level plan. Okay, right? Then frequency of use: single use plan, standing plan. Okay, how much it is used? One time use only. Plans which would be used always, right? So frequency of use. Time frame: short term plan, intermediate plan, long term plan. So this is the summary of types of plan. Okay, right? Now let's look at the question now. Which one of this does not come under organization level plan? We know strategic, tactical, and operational comes. So strategic is there, tactical is there, operational is there. So these would not be the answers. Standing plan would be the answer because standing plan comes in frequency of use. So your answer is standing plan. Right? Again, see this. If you know the concepts, is it difficult? No. They are so easy then. 10-15 seconds you would be done with the questions. Shala. Question number 12 now. So take your time and do this question. Done? Which of the following is a form of departmentation that adopts aspects of both functional and divisional structure at the same level of management? Now this was very important because see, both matrix and hybrid are forms of departmentation that adopts aspects of both functional and divisional structure. But at the same level of management, who does it? Let me show you. First, let me explain to you how many types of structures, organizational structures are there. Departmentation, how do we divide it? How do we divide our organizational structure? Okay, so there are four different types of structure. Okay, what are they? Functional, then divisional, okay, then hybrid, and then there is matrix, right? Then there is matrix. So these are the 4. So here the answer is hybrid. The answer here is hybrid. But why it is so and how it is so, I'll explain that to you. So I gave you the 4 functional. Now what is functional? Let's learn functional first. Functional means department wise. Whatever is the work of the department. So this is the CEO. So there is a marketing department and all marketing guys under him. The VP marketing, all marketing guys under him. Then there is VP finance, all finance guys under him. Then there is VP HR and all guys under him. So pretty clean and hierarchical structure. So that's how functional departments work. Then there is divisional. Now divisional is a different way. Here what happens is that the divisions are created on basis of some logic. The logic may be product, the logic may be geographic, the logic may be customer also. So for high net worth customer there would be a whole separate team, for eastern region separate team, northern region separate team. So that's divisional structure. Now comes our answer, that is hybrid. What is hybrid? Hybrid structure, my dear friend, is sort of like this. Let's say this is CEO. Okay. Okay. Now there is VP or director marketing. After that, director marketing or VP marketing. Then let's say director HR. Okay. Then there is director finance. But there are other directors too. But these directors are product based. Product A, director of product B. Okay. And so on and so forth. Product C. So at product level also there is there. So you see what is happening here. So divisional, we saw divisional, this is the divisional structure. We saw functional, this is the functional structure. So at the same level of management, both functional and both divisional is there, and hence it is hybrid. And that's why my answer is hybrid here. Then your question would be, so sir, what is the fourth one, the matrix one? Right. Before we move on to the matrix one, the functional departments of a hybrid structure have greater staff authority when compared to the divisional departments. And obviously, because functional department is marketing for the whole organization, whereas divisional department is that director is for the particular product or particular region. Okay, right. So the staff authority that vests on functional department is more. Maybe other authority might be with them. Since this authority originates from top level, functional departments are also referred to as corporate departments. Okay, so you must have heard about it, from your brother, from your sister, from your father or mother, that how there are corporate departments. HR is a corporate department. Corporate departments would have access to all of the staff in the country, whereas the northern department would have only to the northern staff of the country. Now coming to the matrix structure. Now how is matrix different? It also adopts aspect of both functional and divisional. So how is it different? It is different in this way. Let me draw it. My drawing would not be very good, but let me try. Okay. This is, let's say, manager product A. Let's say product or project A. Manager project A. This is manager project B or director project B. Manager, director, whatever, the head director project B. Right. Okay. Now here on the other hand you have the top management at the top, right? The top management, the CEO at the top, and reporting to him here would be production manager, let's say, production manager, then sales head, okay, then finance head, okay. See, there is our manufacturing unit, production unit in the plant A. In plant A, there is the production unit. So that production unit of plant A would report to these two. The production unit of the corporate as the director of the project A also, or the plant A also. So the plant director, let's assume it to be plant director. So plant director would also take reporting from here, and the production department can also take reporting from here, right? Same for the sales department of plant A, and then the finance departments of plant A. So here you see, I told you that Henry Fayol's unity of command was challenged by many organization structure. You have one example here. So there is double reporting system here, grid wise system. So one grid is running like this, another grid is running like this or like this. Okay, here there is project B, finance, right? So they are reporting to both here and both here. Okay, so this is your matrix structure. Obviously it's a complex structure, you can see that, right? And therefore it would take a lot of money and stuff to handle this and a lot of resources. But yes, that's what matrix organization is. So matrix organization is a combination again of functional and divisional structure. And what happens is that, see, this structure allows decentralized decision making, greater autonomy, more interdepartmental interaction. Because say, if there is a purchasing department for all the plants together, there is a purchasing head, and there is plant A, plant B, plant C purchasing head too. Let me come on the screen for this. So there is plant A purchasing head who reports to plant A director or the plant A head, and he also reports to the purchasing head. So what happens is that, let's say, in a multiple plant scenario, the purchase department head from the corporate would definitely know that which material is where lying ideal, and therefore it might as well save cost by sending or transferring from one plant to another, material from one plant to another, and thereby saving cost, thereby saving resources. So there are obviously there is saving involved in this, right? But it's a huge lot of complexity to be also managed through this. And the most important thing, Fayol said unity of command not for us to do a joke. No, he used it because he knew what human nature is. So whenever human nature has that way of getting around things, because there are two people to report to, so there are inefficiencies that creep in. So sometimes the efficiencies that can come from that kind of structure is nullified by the inefficiencies that are brought in by the individuals working there. Okay, right? So we'll have to, again, everything is to be balanced so that we get more benefit. So matrix structure, if worked well, for large organization, understand, for small organization it does not matter. For one plant it does not matter. If you are doing it, you are wasting your time and money and resources, right? But for large organization, let's say for P&G, for organizations which has multiple plants, right? For Reliance, okay. So for them, or for that matter, for Big Bazaar, right? For them, multiple scenarios, multiple places, multiple people. So there has to be a matrix structure to have a stronghold over everything. Okay. So, but then, as you saw, that there are challenges in that too. So that was matrix structure. And like the matrix structure, I told you, hybrid structure also takes functional and divisional structure, but then it is at the same level of management. Okay. And hybrid structure, that allows you to utilize resources and knowledge in each function also. So many large organizations have shifted from matrix to hybrid again. They first went from hybrid to matrix and then again went back to here, because they saw that this makes more sense, right? Then later on a spin-off of matrix came, and that was SBU, which was innovated by General Electric under the leadership of Jack Welch. Okay, so that was another concept that was brought in the departmentalization category. SBU, strategic business units. Next, question number 13. Which one of these is not a benefit of MBO? Do this. Done? Okay. Before we move further, we should know what is MBO. So MBO was a concept that was given by Peter Drucker. It's also known as management by result, management by objective or management by result. His emphasis were on two areas. Objectives in areas essential for survival and success of the enterprise has to be given importance, and setting of individual objective. So his total Peter Drucker's total conceptual management based on that you have to have an objective of organization and an objective of individual, and in both this case the objective of organization and individual should be aligned to each other for efficiency and effectiveness in the organization. Okay, right? So that was Peter Drucker's idea. Now, what are the benefits and the limitations of MBO? Let me show them to you. Benefits: better managing, clarity in organizational action. Everyone knows that where we are going. Encouragement of personal commitment, personal satisfaction, basis of organizational change. So if you need to change something drastically in organization, even everyone is on board because they know why that change is being made, then that's something that can happen. Development of effective controls. Okay, limitations. Failure to teach MBO philosophy. MBO is something which from the top management till the bottom management, everyone should be aware of what is the organization objective, what is their objective. Now that's not very easy to do, right? So teaching MBO philosophy is also very difficult to do. Failure to give guidelines to goal setters. So if there are regional goal setters, divisional goal setters, and they do not have proper guidelines to set the goal, then the whole process would be whitewashed. Difficulty in goal setting, emphasis on short-term goals. Many times short-term goals take precedence over long-term goals. As a matter of fact, MBO takes a lot of precedence when it comes to short-term goals. Then inflexibility, and then there are others like takes time and training, can be used as a threat, may lead to frustration. For example, how can it be used as a threat? Your boss says that you have not achieved your objective and your objectives were unachievable from the start, and your boss threats you to throw you out of the organization citing these unattainable objectives. It might sound very far-fetched, but believe me, this happens in corporate world, right? So it can be used as a threat. Now coming back to the question now, which one of these is not a benefit of MBO? Which one of these is not a benefit of MBO? Aids in better managing? Definitely it aids in better managing. Results in personal satisfaction? Yes, it results in personal satisfaction if it is implemented correctly. Encouragement of personal commitment, personal satisfaction was there. Emphasis on long-term goals? No, this is not there. We saw that the emphasis on short-term goals. As a matter of fact, that is one of the limitation of it. And development of effective controls? Yes, that is there. So C is the answer in this case. That is not a benefit. Emphasis on long-term goal is not a benefit. If you look at this, once you know this much about MBA, not too much, but this much, this itself can help you to do a lot of questions, right? Okay, take chala. Question number 14. Which of the following is not an assumption underlying direct control? Okay, so do it. Done. So what is not direct control in here? So it is not direct control. Performance can be measured is direct control. That's an assumption of direct control. Then time expenditure is warranted. There would be time expenditure. It is an assumption. Mistakes can be discovered in time. So see, whenever, even if you do not know what is direct control, from the word you know that direct control is essentially when there is a clear chain of command, and from that they are trying to get data and have a control over the systems of the task that is happening out in the field or in the shop floor. So when it comes to direct control and the assumptions of direct control, if something can be controlled only when you assume that time expenditure in that control is warranted. Something can be controlled when you assume that performance can be measured. If it cannot be measured, how do you control it? Mistakes can be discovered in time. Then only if you assume that mistakes can never be discovered, then how do you control, right? Okay, so these are the assumptions, but personal responsibility does not exist. If personal responsibility does not exist, why would they do direct control? So personal responsibility exists, and that is an assumption of direct control. That has to be an assumption of direct control, and therefore A is the answer. Now, before I move on to the last question, let me show you the summary of control. There is 3 ways to classify control: based on responsibility, based on timing, and based on discretion. See, here I gave you the answer first because knowing this would not have helped you answer this. If you know everything in detail, then it would help you, right? But only knowing the summary would not help you. There you'll have to, if you do not know the in detail, then you'll have to use your common sense here. Therefore, I solved this with common sense first, and then I came on to the explanation. Based on responsibility, there are 2: direct and preventive. Okay, then based on timing, feed forward, concurrent, and feedback. So feed forward is the instructions beforehand. concurrent is as the job is going on, and feedback is after the job has ended. Then based on discretion, cybernetic and non-cybernetic. Okay. So these are the 7 control ways. Okay. The last question number 15 now. Which one of these is not an element of directing? Okay, we have done a little about directing and elements of directing. Let me show you elements of directing first. Supervision, motivation, leadership, communication. These are the elements of directing. These are called the elements of directing. Okay. So supervision, yes. Motivation, yes. Leadership, yes. But this is not an element of directing. Controlling is an element in itself. Controlling is a function in itself. POSDC, the D is for directing, whereas the C is for controlling, right? So therefore controlling would be your answer. Okay, right? Clear? So that was our final question. Now, my friends, how much did you score? You have gone through all the questions, you have attempted the questions, giving the 30 seconds that you were to give, and we have discussed the explanation, the solution, right? So what is your score? Let me give you an idea if your score is good or not. 13 to 15, 1 marks for every question. So 13 to 15 is a very good score. You have done a good job. That means that you have sincerely gone through the concepts and have made an internalization of the concepts, right? So 13 to 15, very good score. 10 to 12 is also a good score, right? There is a scope of improvement, and with these kinds of revision that improvement would definitely come. Refer to your notes also, but 10 to 12 is a good score. Then 9 to 10, or rather 8 and 9, average score, not very good scores, right? And less than 9 needs a lot of improvement, my dear friends. Okay, right? So this is how the score chart looks like. So if you are above 10, then it's a good sign, right? Keep it up. That's how we would improve more with these kinds of revisions, and your revision at your own place, the mocks that you would take. For with all this stuff, you would get that extra flip and be in that category till the exam, and in the exam also, and thereby getting a competitive edge. And for those who are not in that category, your target is to get inside that category, and for that you'll have to revise the notes that you have made or go through the concepts again in a little more detail, right? These revisions will definitely help, but then you'll have to have a grasp of the concepts. Okay, right? So that will be all for today. Hope you enjoyed this lecture and understood the concepts that we discussed. So see you in the next lecture with another interesting topic. Till then, bye bye. Thank you very much and all the best.